Hello everybody. It's been my experience with the late Bob Andrews. He's a man that you can't set your watch by, but you can pretty much set your calendar by. And it's 5 o'clock, and I'm here. And I'm pretty sure he'll get here today, which makes him prompt by the calendar, but his usual late self by the clock. And I did ask him previously if we were going to do it at 5 today, and he assured me that we would. He didn't say I would, he said we would. So I'll try to give you your money's worth, and since you paid nothing for this, it's probably worth every penny. I'll do my show till I've said what I want to say, and then I'll quit. And if Bob shows up, he can talk some too. And by the way, wasn't it a pretty day? I've got a cold. Looks like I'm going to recover. I know there are probably some people out there cheering for my demise, but I hope to disappoint them. I've been lucky. I hadn't had colds too much in my old age, and I take a flu shot every year because I really don't want the flu. But I've got every intention to live to be 90. I'm not saying I'm going to, but you got to plan ahead and hope. So if I don't make it, it wasn't because I didn't expect to. Now then, I hope that you are able to catch our radio show. It's on 1450 AM every Saturday at, what time do we come on? 4 o'clock? Yeah, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I guess. Look at that revolting. I don't even know when we're on. But we do live stream the thing here on Ustream. At the same time we're on the radio, and we store it online on Ustream. So if you missed some of our wonderful stuff, you can go back and rewatch it and relive that wonderful experience. And we appreciate you tuning in however you do it. You can go to UGG TV, which you obviously know how to do, and if you'll follow the links to Ustream, whatever's up, this will be up when I'm finished. If all goes as expected, it'll be up till we do another show, but that would probably be next week. But if you'll go to UGG TV and follow the link to that says you can go to YouTube and see our archive shows, you can see what we have done for the past little while, and those WLAF shows will be on there. We do much better on the radio because we don't have to sit in that makeup room all day to get purdied up. I mean, today it was just in there and waiting and getting brushed and combed and shaved and doctored up, and it's just so much better not to have to do that. Just go in there and sit down in your pajamas and do I don't got no pajamas, but anyway, you go in there and just sit down and do the show, and it's a lot more fun on the radio. If we could ever figure out how, it's a whole different area. We never know what's going on. They don't tell us when we come on, when we go off. We just have to figure it out ourselves. So sometimes we'll just stop right in the middle of a sentence, but we keep talking, you just don't hear us. Of course we keep talking. Now then, lots of stuff going on. We have the county planners who are taking us forever down the road to more and more debt, and we have the city planners who have managed to waste all that there 2/3 more tax money they captured a while back. They're just spending it hand over fist and doing stuff that don't need to be done, but that's their business. I promised I'd leave them alone if they'd leave me alone, which I can't really say they've done too well at that, but we'll see how it works out. I would like to say that, remind you that I'm still in business and that I sell roofing material. I sell windows and doors. I sell dog houses, insulated dog houses for uninsulated dogs. Got vinyl siding and linoleum, kitchen rugs. We sell, got some plywood, got some sheetrock, and for all you politicians and want to get elected, we've got a real deal on stuff to make you campaign signs out of, plywood and 2x4s or 1x4s, whatever you want to use. You can just get out there and just make all the lies and promises you want to. And I'll save you money. That way you won't take you as long to get caught up after you get in and start getting all them kickbacks and stuff. Not that we have any politicians in this county that would do that, but I have heard we had the best politicians here that money could buy, so I guess we've got our share. Kind of amazing that there are gnats or fruit flies or something flying around here. It's the first warm day we've had in a while, and looks like it didn't kill them. And since I've managed to tell you about all that good stuff I've got, I also would like to mention that I'm sitting here right now in this building. This studio was closed up, so it's kind of chilly in here. It's not cold. I know it's warm outside, but it was kind of too cool for comfort in here. So I lit up one of Digger's Mr. Heaters and sitting on top of a tank with some of Digger's flavored propane in it. And we've got the aroma neutral version here. We don't have a flavor, but we've got some good heat coming out of it, and it feels right good, and it's warmed the place up. And you might want to go down to Digger's right there in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler, or call him at 562-5444, or as Digger says, 562-5444. Whichever one you want to call work, and get you some of that good propane and get set up for these little cold spells. Now, we had a power outage the other night whenever it was so cold, and of course, they come right out in the middle of the night, you know, 2 or 3 in the morning, and fixed it, and right promptly, I'll have to say. So I've not got no complaints with the electric department, but had I been relying on electric heat, I'd have been a lot more aware of it. But since I was using Digger's propane on my little wall heater, I didn't know about it till it just got so quiet. I usually, I know I may be a little bit off kilter here, but I usually have got a radio on every night, and those quiet spells tend to wake me up. So I had one of them quiet spells when the electricity went off, and I woke up, but I wasn't cold, and I just tickled that to have some of Digger's propane. Digger's a good man. He's at Sawmill Holler. He's at Wilson's Propane, where they've got all those different varieties of gas. But let's get on to another topic. How's your health insurance working out for you? You know, it's right on closing in on the time where you're going to have to make a decision. In fact, there's so much confusion about it, I don't think we know what we're going to do. This cradle to grave taking care of us only works when the people that are taking care of us are smart enough to do that, and I don't think we've got anybody running the show that's smart enough to do it. We've got some real devious people running the show on the national level. They can't be dumb enough to think what they're doing is going to work. So the only alternative I see is it's not intended to work. It's just intended to exacerbate the problem to the point where we'll want more and more of their help, and have less and less of our own freedom. You know, with freedom comes responsibility. You can be free and choose to fail. Maybe not consciously, but you can choose to be a failure when you're free. And if you choose to be a failure, you shouldn't expect anything else. You also can choose to be a success. And if you choose to be a success, you shouldn't have to carry weight of the people who choose to be failures. Now that may sound a little bit complicated, but the fact of the matter is, you can only expect to get out of something what you put into it if you're being honest. And those folks that expect somebody else to pay their way are not being honest. I hear these stories about people who were just deliriously in support of Obama and his national health care thing, and I was definitely for some reforms in the healthcare industry, but not that. But what I'm saying is, these people were just so much involved and so much in support of having a national health care system, and they end up worse off than they were before, and they're all upset about it. Now, I don't feel sorry for them. I know it's a shame. Some of them are sick and going to die because of it, and I do feel for them. But the point is, they were expecting somebody else to pay their way, and they're upset because this system that they thought was going to steal enough from other people to make it easy for them is actually going to take more from them to do the same thing, and I think it worked out pretty good for them. That's life. I have to say something else too. I've lived in this county for 64 years and a few months. 2 months and a little bit more. And we have had various road superintendents, beginning with my memory. I can remember Alvis Malicote, and then we had Taylor Oaks, and then we had Jimmy Jones, we had Mrs. Jimmy Jones, and then we had Mr. Leach, and we had, in there in the middle of that, we had Mr. Goins, and well, anyway, you know how it goes. And I'm going to say that those people back in the early part of the part of the life I can remember, they didn't have near as much equipment or as much resources to take care of the roads and to do the job that needs to be done. So they deserve some leeway, and this is not necessarily a criticism of them. But this guy we've got in there now is more faithfully making sure we can get out from out in the woods when it snows than anybody I remember. When I came out the other morning, that snow, and we had about 8 inches out my house, I didn't expect to be able to come out till the middle of the day when they scraped the roads off, but evidently they scraped them off before daylight because the roads were clear. I happened to have a 4-wheel drive, and I used it, but I'm pretty sure I could have got out just fine without it. Might have had to have been a little more cautious. That's a big thing. So many people don't know how to drive. You cannot decide to stop on ice just anytime you want to. But evidently some people have not learned that yet. And I noticed there was a few people out in the holler got educated Sunday morning, but I hope everybody's okay. But you don't drive on ice the same as you do on dry road. I don't know exactly. It seems that we've got us the same old school superintendent we had before, and I don't have any problem with that. He seems like a pretty good man, and he's definitely not the worst school superintendent we've ever had. But I hope he is not falling into that trap of bottomless pockets. We've had, of course, I know he's at the mercy of the school board, but he managed the school very efficiently, a private school, with a whole lot less money than he gets from the one he's got now. I would like to see him manage our resources similar to the way he did with his private school. And that should allow us to actually cut the school budget some. Now, I know there's a maintenance of effort thing, which is a trick that they put in there to make sure they can always have all the money they want for anything they want, but we need to do some serious cost cutting and make it a little easier on the people. Our politicians go from one wealthy stage to, boom and bust, boom and bust. What they do, they get a new tax increase in some direction, and that's going to carry them through, and they do well, just like the city of La Follette when they increased taxes by 2/3. They just had money to burn. It took care of all their problems, and they just keep increasing their spending and their commitment to the point they're right back where they were before, and they can't make ends meet, and they have to bump the taxes up again. I'm a little tired of that. You can't do it in life. When you overspend your family budget, you don't just automatically give yourself a raise and start over. You have to pay your bills. I don't know what philosophy is behind this idea that you run out of money and you raise taxes, and then you run out of money and you raise taxes. There's got to be a time when you say we're out of money, and if we raise taxes, they ain't nowhere to get any more money. The school budget is the biggest end result of our tax money in this county. Some of the sales tax and property tax and all that, it is by far the biggest budget item that we have in the county. And sooner or later, somebody needs to realize that we're still doing things the way they were done back in the horse and buggy days. Education should be getting cheaper. An old slow plodding along key punch IBM computer in 1960 filled a room and cost $40,000 or $50,000, and you can multiply that by 10 about it to get today's money. So $40,000 equates to $400,000. But because of the innovation and the technology, you can buy, or you can sign up for a phone contract, and they'll give you a smartphone that has more computer capacity than that $40,000 IBM computer had in 1960. That means that we should be able to reduce the cost of education. We should not be seeing increases, but if we keep doing it the same way and building new school buildings, hiring more teachers and school personnel and bus drivers and putting them all in the same situation we had before, of course we're going to spend more and more money. But we need to rethink and redo and take a different approach, and we can't do it overnight, but there are substantial savings to be made, and the end result would in fact be a better education of our students. An example is the city of Follette spending a bunch of money on a library, and not mention their $1,800 desk and their kitchen on premises, and their $60,000 roof to make it look like a library, which only was cosmetic, And those things, that's not the point. The point is they actually built a new brick and mortar library when books are becoming outdated. I bought a book today. I paid $9.95 with it for it. I just charged it to my card online. It was delivered to my Kindle. I've been reading it. I didn't go to a bookstore. I didn't do nothing. I just heard of a book that I wanted to read, so I bought it. And on that same Kindle, which is just a little bitty thing, you know, I've got a virtual library on the thing. And that is the future. I know there's still a place for books, and people are going to want books from now on, and I'm for it. I mean, especially if you're doing mathematics or an engineering problem or something, I feel you can do better if you've got a paper book to look at. But I'm not even suggesting we should have done this, because I'm not for government doing everything for everybody. But if we were going to spend that kind of money for a library, to remove it and furnish it and maintain it, the technology is available to put free wireless internet from one end of the city to the other. We could have maintained it for what it costs to maintain the library. We could have put all the knowledge, well, vast majority of all accumulated knowledge in the world could have been put into every home in this town for the price of a $100 tablet. A family could have bought and you can do better, but I'm talking about a new one. You can get them for $100 or less now, and had all that resources. The kid could do all his homework, his library assignments and stuff right there in his kitchen, his living room. He could have read Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and Grapes of Wrath. He could have read them all right there. And it's there and it's available, and they could have done that. Now, if that were not feasible, if they didn't want to get involved in that, and that's fine, I don't think they should be doing it anyway. But if they're going to spend the money, spend it the most effective way you can. In my opinion, that would have been the most effective way to do it. But if not that, then instead of building all these shelves and putting all these books in there, we should have built a computer room and furnished it with not those $2,000 computers, but those $100 tablets and whatnot, so people could go in there and read, and that would be our library. So much more simple, so much more sensible, and so much more cost effective. Got one more thing I need to tell you. I need to tell you that Vital Care at 562-9370, they're a privately owned ambulance service here in our county. They're in competition with the government ambulance service, the Campbell County Ambulance Service. They do not get any tax funding. They accept insurances of all kinds. They have more innovation than you might expect. They've got the only ventilator for if you need to be transported from one place to another and you need a portable ventilator. They have that on board their ambulance. They are locally owned. They're a family operation. 40 years experience within the family, more than 40 years. They know their business. They have pride of ownership. If you don't do business with them, they don't do business. They don't have a guaranteed salary from the taxpayers. If they fail to provide, then they're gone. 562-9370. Call John Bond or You can call, if you can't remember the number and you have to call 911, you can request vital care ambulance service. And folks, I hate to duck out on you, but I've talked about all I can talk, and I ain't got no help. So happy trails, everybody. Thank you.